Okay, so welcome to the weekly Wednesday Zoom call. I'm so glad to see you all here. We've got some people that have gone through the program, some people that are just getting started in the program, some people that are in the program. Shoot. Did I take a photo of this? Okay, perfect. All right, let me share my screen here. Okay, so welcome in, and today we are going to be talking about gut, liver, hormones, what they have to do with weight loss, all of that stuff. You know, it's the new year, and we're trying to leave all the old things from 2023. We got to leave that, let that go, because whatever no longer serves us from 23, including the possible toxins in the body. So I will go ahead and jump right in. So today we've got some shout outs. I got a joke. Those of you who've been on the program will appreciate the joke. How the digestive system is supposed to work, what happens when it's off, how to correct it. We'll talk about gut health, liver health, hormones, and all of those, how they all relate to weight loss. So I'll start off with the joke. Um, let's see, a man, take that look off your face. Okay, a man with a huge grin approaches a priest. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned, he says. I've spent the last week with 7 beautiful women. Do not fret, son, says the priest. All you need to do is take 7 lemons, squeeze the juice into a glass, and drink the juice. Will that cleanse me from my sins, he says. No, but it'll wipe that smile off your face. Anyways, okay, so the lady in the green t-shirt, that's Crystal. And this was just her kind of before and afters. And I will say she really, really, really had a great attitude about the whole thing. You know, there's a lot of programs out there, and, you know, our program works, but if we have some stinking thinking, that's going to make it a bit of a challenge to stay on task. But she really had a drive and a desire for it. She went on vacation and she stayed on her program. So I was super excited for her. And what a visible difference. You can see with that smile on her face, she's pretty happy. And then Michelle here in the gray also did a great job. She suited up and showed up every week with her journal pages and all of that stuff. So I'm super, super proud of her. And then I've got, excuse me, Anne. She just finished the program and she said, all of her gut issues are gone, all of them. She was having issues with combination diarrhea and constipation and bloating. She says none of it, it's all completely gone. So she's really super, super excited. And then Beth, on just day 5, she said her GERD is completely gone. And her GERD was really, I think, why she signed up for the program. It was really, really bad. Her GERD is 100% gone after just 5 days. And her bowel movements are now normal. So she's super excited about that. So congratulations to everybody who's doing well. Those of you who are staying on the maintenance program, those of you who just kind of show up to the Wednesday groups, whether you're in our program, have done our program, you're a past client, wherever you are in the process. I'm super glad you're here, and I'm just looking forward to continuing to work with you. Okay, so let's start here. Are you toxic? Some of the symptoms of being toxic, excuse me, brain fog, fatigue, blurred vision, gas, bloating, constipation, any of your digestive disruptions, headaches. Also with headaches, it can include nausea and vomiting, even if you're if you're very toxic. Bad skin conditions, itchy skin can be a signal that you are toxic, and your sleep is off. And this is what I love about our program. People sign up for the program, usually with some or a lot of these particular symptoms. But our program, because it does address the gut and it does address the liver and the hormones and the gut and all of that stuff, it obviously, when those things are off, it can cause difficulty with weight gain or weight loss, I should say. But that's why this program is different and why I love it, because it addresses all this stuff and it works. So that's one thing I love about teaching on this program. So how do we get toxic? There's a lot of different ways we have. If you're alive, you're you're get toxic. Alcohol can be very bad for your liver. Tylenol, ibuprofen. I was just talking about that with Christina. Those are Tylenol is one of the #1 reasons why people end up in the ER with liver poisoning. It's not usually from the alcohol. It's typically actually from the Tylenol. Pesticides, different pesticides that's on our foods, which is why we want to go organic as much as we possibly can. I was just watching this TikTok thing this morning, and it was talking about the McDonald's French fries, excuse me, and how they use a certain russet potato. And he said the name of it. It's because they're really long, and they like those French fries long, he said, because they like the bouquet coming out of that red box. But because they have to be perfect, and they don't want them with all those like bruises or whatever, they have to put a specific pesticide on them. And the guy was saying that the farmers that farm these things will not even go out into the field up to 5 days after they spray their fields, because they're so toxic. And then they have to keep them in typically they said the size of a football field, basically this big, giant, huge room to off-gas them for, I think he said 6 weeks or something, but to off-gas them so that the pesticides go away a little bit more and makes them, I guess, somewhat edible. But if you think about that, like, we already know French fries from McDonald's aren't good for us. But if you're craving them and having trouble getting off of them, hopefully that little tidbit of information will help you rethink your French fry choices. There's heavy metals that's contained in a lot of our different foods, particularly tuna or swordfish, some of your larger fish, some rice, and even baby food is known for high levels of heavy metals, and which just makes me so grateful. My daughter's son, he's about 15 months old, and she's been feeding him regular food. She's mushed it like avocado when she started feeding him soft things. She smashes blueberries so that they don't get stuck in his throat, but she never bought baby food. And after studying for this talk today, I'm super grateful she never bought any baby food, because everything I was researching, baby food kept coming up as one of the higher sources of heavy metals. And those are toxic for the brain, all kinds of bad stuff. Sugars cause toxicity in the body. It's stored in the liver. Sugars and high fructose corn syrup, which is a kind of sugar, which is highly processed and even more addictive than regular sugar. But it all gets stored in the liver, which can cause liver inflammation. It can cause fatty liver, which can cause scar tissue, scarring in there, which can cause ultimately cirrhosis of the liver. So if you want to take good care of your liver, stop with the sugars. And even personal care products, like a great example is deodorants. Most common deodorants have aluminum in them, and aluminum's been associated with Alzheimer's and dementia. But even like perfumes and skincare products and parabens, and there's so many toxins. If you're breathing the air, there it is. If you're breathing the air, there's pollutants in the air that we breathe. So basically how we can get toxic is either it's through the breath, we inhale it, it's topical. If we put things on our skin, it gets absorbed, or we're consuming it. It's in the foods that we're consuming, or maybe possibly prescription or even over-the-counter drugs like the Tylenol. So just being alive, we're probably going to be toxic. So I wanted to go into kind of how the digestive system works, how it works, how it should work, and then I'll go over what kind of happens to us as we age or life happens. So the digestive system, I believe, starts with the brain. And I know this for a fact because I talk about food with my clients all day long. And when I talk about certain foods, my mouth starts to water. So that digestive process is already started. If I'm talking about something that I absolutely love, and I'm super excited to share that information with you guys, my mouth will start to water. But if you see food or we smell food, the same things, those juices start to flow. So it starts just even before the food gets in the mouth. And then obviously the food goes in the mouth. We start to chew the food. That's part of the digestive process. Certain enzymes begin within the oral cavity. The ones that mostly break down carbohydrates, amylase is one of them. But those enzymes is what breaks down your food. And then we swallow. Where's my little arrow? Oh, no, go back. Go back. All right, sorry. So then it goes, we swallow and it goes into the esophagus, and the nerve endings will sense the food there and it pushes the food down into the stomach. Once it gets in the stomach will kind of pulverize the food a little bit, but also some digestive enzymes will come in, the hydrochloric acid will come in and really break it down. So the food that's been swallowed now turns into what's called chyme. And it's basically a frothy liquid that ultimately will go into the next phase, which is in the small intestine. And there's more, like the liver will start pumping out the bile, which breaks down the fats, and other enzymes are released in the small intestines as well. And this is also where we start to absorb some of the nutrients in the small intestines from the small intestine area. The pancreas is pumping out lots of insulin, well, appropriate for how much carbohydrates and sugars that we've taken in. And that's another piece of the puzzle as well. And then ultimately from the small intestine, it goes into the large intestine where it starts to pull out the water and the fiber. It doesn't pull out the fiber. The fiber stays as part of the bowel movement. It pulls out the water and more nutrients are still being absorbed, but that's what forms a healthy, hopefully a healthy bowel movement. And then it goes into this bottom blue part, which is called the rectum, and it alerts the nerve endings because now that rectum becomes distended. And then of course it tells us to go find a bathroom and release it all. The problem is, so that's what a healthy digestive system should look like. The problem is sometimes when we eat the food, it goes into the stomach. The stomach isn't making enough digestive enzymes. We don't have enough hydrochloric acid in the gut or in the stomach to break down that food. So instead of that frothy liquid chyme going into the small intestine, that chyme or the food, which is actually still in chunks, goes into the small intestine. It actually tries to go back up. The food knows it needs to get out. So it tries to go back up, which can cause that GERD or that acid reflux. And then this part says, no, you can't go backwards. You got to go the other direction. So eventually the food goes into the small intestine, but it's in chunks. So now the liver has to work harder to pump extra bile. The pancreas, and this is a big one here, has to work extra harder, and it's pumping, 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 and it's on high alert. It's like a fire hose, just pumping insulin, 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 because it thinks that there's more food. There's not more food, it's just not digested into that frothy liquid chyme like it's supposed to be. The problem with that is the insulin is your fat storage hormone. So here we are starving ourselves, going on diets, eating just so few calories, spending hours in the gym, and we're just burning it at both ends, just burning it. But here we've got, but you've got your insulin is higher than all of your efforts. So it's a losing battle. You're trying and trying and trying to lose the weight, but if that insulin level keeps on pumping up harder, more than we're trying, we're not going to lose weight. We're going to store fat. We're going to be in fat storage mode. So that's some of the reasons why we have issues with weight loss. There's different parts to the digestive system. There's the GI tract. I really think it starts with the eyes, but GI tract really starts from the chewing, swallowing, the stomach, and the intestines, and the rectum, and the elimination. And then the other part is the enzymes, the hormones, the nerves, and the blood. When it gets into the intestines, it absorbs into the blood, and that's how we receive our vitamins. If we don't have the right gut flora in here, we're not going to be breaking down the food like we should. If we don't have enough gut flora, which is what the probiotics are, we're not going to be able to absorb the nutrients. This causes all kinds of other problems within the body. Our immune system is compromised. So there's lots of different pieces of this puzzle. They say it takes about 30 to 40 hours from start to finish, but some of us might take a week. I know people come to the program, say, they go once a week, and that's obviously a problem because oftentimes the body will reabsorb a lot of those toxins. All right, so let's talk about the gut and what we can do here. So things we need to decrease. Number one is sugar. Sugar is the enemy on so many levels. I know we like it. It's sweet. It's usually something we celebrate with, birthdays, holidays. There's always sweets. We just finished with the holidays, cookies, candies, fudge, all the things. However, the bad bacteria, the candidas in the gut, their favorite food is sugar. So as you know, we eliminate sugar hopefully forever. I mean, not 100%. There's going to be sugar occasionally, but we avoid it. We avoid it to the best of our ability because we want to starve the bad bacteria. And if you're craving a lot of sugars, that might be a sign that you have a lot of bad bacteria in the gut. It's very smart. It makes us want the sugar so that it can feed itself. A lot of snacking can, especially if there's sweets, eating a lot of that. Antibiotics. If you've been on antibiotics, that kills, it doesn't care if it's good or bad bacteria. So it also kills the good stuff. So if you've been on antibiotics in the last at least 5 years, chances are you might need the probiotics and need to put in back the good bacteria in the gut. Alcohol should be consumed in limitation. That also can kill the bad bacteria in the gut. Genetically modified foods, pesticides can also be very, very, very bad for the gut. And artificial sweeteners, especially aspartame, and even sucralose is really bad. It actually destroys the good bacteria in the gut. So if you want something sweet, you can still have it. But I would say, please stick with stevia or monk fruit. And if you can tolerate it, the sugar alcohols like erythritol and xylitol. Those can tend to cause a little bit of diarrhea in about 20% of the population. So just take note, see if your body responds or not. Stress can also cause problems in the gut. They say the mind and body are connected, but when we're stressed out, it affects the gut and it affects the health of the gut, which obviously affects the health of the body. When the gut is out of whack, it throws the liver out of whack. So it's really important that we take really good care of both the gut and the liver to get ourselves back into balance for a healthy weight loss. All right, so how do we feed the good bacteria? Well, high fiber, those are called prebiotics, and just a high fiber diet, lots of vegetables, some fruits, obviously there's sugars in the fruits, so those are limited, but a really good high fiber diet is super important to maintain the good, healthy flora in the gut. Varieties of vegetables, specifically your cruciferous vegetables. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, cruciferous vegetables, those are really good. Those are good across the board. They're good for your gut. They're good for your overall health. They're good for your immune. They're cancer fighting. They're good for your skin, your hair, anti-aging. Just eat your vegetables. Find ways to make them taste good. Use spices. You can spice them up any which way you can, perfectly fine. You can put them in a coconut cream for creamier version. Make like a creamy curry or like a Parmesan, or what's that called? Alfredo kind of a sauce, whatever ways that makes you like vegetables more. Eat them raw, eat them cooked, eat them grilled, eat them roasted, however you can get them in. And I always say the more veggies I eat, the leaner I get. So that's the new mantra. But it really will help build a healthy gut. Also, fasting can help with a healthy gut. They say, we have between 5 and 30 pounds of sludge in the gut. So when we go on a fast every once in a while, especially that lemon fast that we ask you to do a couple times during our program, your body has to go and eat away at some of those dead, sick cells. So it eats away at some of that sludge. And by eating the dead or sick cells, it's eating up the sick stuff. So you're getting the sick cells gone out of your body as well. It's really, really good for anti-aging once in a while. If it's your common thing to do, intermittent fasting every single day, like I never eat before noon or I never eat before 2 p.m., then your body just adapts and your metabolism just slows down. So I wouldn't do that every day, but fasting once in a while can be very helpful for the gut. Also fermented foods, sauerkraut's probably the number one here, superfood for that. Apple cider vinegar is good, very good. Mix it with water, don't take it straight. That'll hurt your esophagus and eat the enamel off your teeth. And plus I don't think it tastes very good. Also like kefir, which isn't in the dairy. So if you're in the first 12 weeks, you're not going to have that, but it's actually better than even yogurt because it has the good bacteria, more of the good bacteria, even more than the yogurts. Kimchi, stuff like that. So fermented foods, really, 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 really good for the gut. And weight loss, losing weight in general will help with a healthy gut. But if you're doing all these things, eating your vegetables, eating properly, all of that stuff, weight loss will definitely come. All right, so let's talk about the liver. What does the liver do? Well, what it doesn't do is it does not store your toxins in your body. What it does do is it rids your body of toxins. It helps regulate your hormones in your body. So if the liver's not happy, your hormones can be out of whack. The liver is the only organ in the body that helps your body metabolize fat more efficiently. So if your liver is toxic, that's not going to serve you either as far as weight loss. Oh, and when I said hormones, that includes like estrogen, cortisol, thyroid, all of that sort of stuff. Um, also, if the liver is toxic, you can't even absorb the benefits of the vitamin D, can't absorb it. Your glycogen stores are in the liver. That's your energy. But if there's too much, then it starts to become toxic. Like I said, it becomes inflamed, then you get scar tissue, fatty liver, scar tissue, which ultimately leads to cirrhosis. Symptoms of a toxic liver. I can't tell you my liver must have been really toxic because when I did the cleanse, our cleanse, my energy levels just, I couldn't believe how, I didn't even know how tired I was until I felt amazing. So those of you who haven't done the cleanse yet and are worried about it, just hang in there. It's worth it. It's the level of vitality that I personally felt and that my clients tell me that they feel, a lot of them, it's just worth it. Symptoms of a toxic liver, which having trouble losing weight, gas, bloating, any of the other digestive disruptions, brain fog, even blurred vision, water retention, itchy skin is a sign of, toxic liver, and other skin issues. When people clean up their liver, the previous owner of the vitamin store when I bought the vitamin store from him, kid came in with acne. And instead of giving him like a cream, there's plenty of things he could have given him, but he gave him a liver cleanse, and the kid came back, and his acne had cleared up quite a bit. It wasn't gone, but it was quite a bit better. So your skin is a big teller of what's going on the inside. You know, when someone just they don't look well, they look sort of either pale or they don't have any vitality to their skin. You can just tell they're not right. Dark urine is another symptom. That could be kidneys as well, or dehydration as well. So how do we correct it? What consuming cleansing foods? So what are the healthy cleansing foods? You got your healthy fats like olive oil, avocado oils, and MCT oils. The beauty with MCT oils like coconut oil is that coconut oil, even though it's a saturated fat, the liver has to produce the bile, which gets stored in the gallbladder. And then the gallbladder releases that to break down fats. So when you're eating a lot of fats, the liver has to work a little bit harder to produce more bile. So when we consume like MCT oils, medium chain triglyceride oils, that doesn't require bile to break down. So your liver doesn't have to work as hard. You want wild caught fish like salmon, pasture raised eggs, dark green leafy vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, especially radishes, probiotic foods like sauerkraut, kefir, kimchi, microgreens like alfalfa sprouts, broccoli sprouts, and beets, also very good for cleansing the liver. There's supplements that you can take, turmeric, curcumin, milk thistle, NAC, which is N-acetylcysteine, dandelion root. Green smoothies are good, cleansing foods. Lemon water, hot lemon water. Start the day with hot lemon water. It really boosts the digestive enzymes to start that cleansing of the liver. And anything high in choline like egg yolks. Drinking lots of water. Keep that liver flushed, flushed, flushed. Okay, everybody take a drink of water. Good, that was a test. I want to make sure you had it nearby. You passed. Again, here we go, eliminating sugars. So as I said, the sugars get stored in the liver, and if there's too much, it turns into triglycerides, it turns into fat, it turns into the fats. And that's how the big start of fatty liver happens. And fatty liver, the liver can reinvent itself if you turn it around and start eating really healthy. But if we keep eating sugars, we're going backwards. We're going to store it and it's going to turn into triglycerides, which turns into fatty liver, which turns into all the progression of the other things, as I mentioned. Eliminating fatty processed foods like pepperoni and salami and just super high fat processed kinds of meats, things like that. And again, the reason is your liver has to produce the bile. And if you're eating a lot of pepperoni or salami, it's going to have to just work its little liver off. So you really want to limit those. There's lots of supplements that you can take. As I mentioned, there's silymarin. Another name for that is milk thistle. Those are good. Artichoke, dandelion. Those are really good for the liver. The curcumin, which is part of the turmeric, has an anti-inflammatory response, which helps the inflammation in the liver go down, in the whole body for that matter, go down. It also helps boost the glutathione in the body. And the glutathione is body's natural liver cleanser. So that's a good one. And then limiting your Tylenol. As I mentioned, Tylenol is the #1 reason people go into the ER for liver poisoning. So really being mindful of that. I know when I was taking a lot of that, I didn't feel very good. I was always tired. And then coming off, I feel a lot better. Oh, and then of course, alcohol. That's an obvious one. We all know that one. All right, so let's dig into the hormones. Okay, so as I mentioned in the digestive section, talking about how it works, when we're not digesting the food enough, the pancreas, its job is to produce that insulin. Insulin is your fat storage hormone. And the cells or the sugar needs insulin to get into the cell. So it's like, the party everybody wants to go to, where all the celebrities and the athletes and the rock stars and all the things, everybody wants to go to that party, but you got to get an invitation, or you need to go with somebody who has an invitation. So the insulin is basically the invitation to get into the cell, and that's where it should go. However, if there's too much sugar in the body and not enough insulin to get all the blood sugars into the cells, the sugars run rampant in the body, and it can affect your vision. And these are symptoms of diabetes. It affects your vision. It can affect your heart, can cause heart disease. It can affect your kidneys, and it can cause big problems in kidneys. Could end up on dialysis, and also affects your circulation. So as you know, a lot of diabetics, if they're not careful, if they're not watching their sugars, they end up losing a foot or a leg. And I knew a girl, she was in her 20s, lost her first foot in her 20s because she was a diabetic and she did not take care of herself. But insulin, when there's too much of it, when the pancreas is pumping out too much, because it thinks there's extra food in the body, because the digestive system isn't breaking it down like it's supposed to, that's telling our body to store fat. So here we are trying to diet and exercise our way into fitness. And if that insulin is on a high alert, on position, there's no way you can fight it. Can't fight it. So that's the first hormone we want to control. And again, that's with your blood sugars and your carbohydrates. Cortisol, that is your stress hormone, but it's also known for producing belly fat. And the belly fat is the most dangerous of all the fats. Why, you ask? Because if you think about where is it located, it's located in the belly. Where are all of your vital organs located? Right here, right in the belly. So when we have too much belly fat, it literally strangles your vital organs, like your liver and your pancreas and your gallbladder and all those things in there that we need, which ages them faster, which ages us faster. And of course, the belly fat, it causes more belly fat. So it's very important that we manage our stress, even if, excuse me, even if it's as little as just taking time to do a little bit of breath work, A little guided meditation, turn on YouTube for 5 minutes. Practice, like there's breath work exercises, box breathing, inhale for 5, hold that for 5, exhale for 5, hold that for 5. And then keep going up a number, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 7, all the way up to 10. But just enough to calm yourself down if you're feeling stressed. Really, really important that you manage that. Get a massage once in a while. Treat yourself, take care of your body. And that's how you release your cortisol. Ghrelin, this is your hunger hormone. And this is what tells your body when you're hungry. And when all of your other stuff is off, we don't feel hungry. When the thyroid is off, we don't feel hungry. Or else we feel extra hungry because the leptin has been activated. But all we have to do, that's why sleep is so important, because ghrelin and leptin are affected even after one night of not good sleep. Ever notice that you don't sleep good and all you want to do is eat bread? I eat carbs or eat something sweet or eat comfort food. I mean, it's because the ghrelin and the leptin have been off whack, but they're hormones that tell us when to eat and when to stop eating. And if those things go off, that's what gets us in trouble. Oh, okay. And then estrogen. Estrogen is stored in our fat cells. So is all of our toxins. Toxins are stored everywhere, but primarily it's in the adipose tissue. Primarily it's that fat tissue, but it can also be stored in the brain and other organs like the liver and kidneys and all of that. It can be stored everywhere. But estrogen is often stored in the fat cells. Now, when women go through menopause, and the estrogen levels are dropping, this is one of the reasons why we gain weight when we go through menopause, is because the body knows that the estrogen was in the fat cells. So it's trying to make more fat cells in order to find its estrogen. So it's it's kind of a vicious cycle. So that's why doing the cleanse is really good, because it kind of cleans out those fat cells. And I've had a lot of people do the cleanse and come out and say, hey, I started spotting, even though they hadn't had a period, or they noticed some sweats coming back. It's just because those hormones are getting released in the body because they've been stored. But once it gets out, it should regulate itself. But that's kind of the skinny on the hormones. So the recap, basically, detoxing your mind too, because how we think affects our body. How we think affects our gut a lot, a lot. So don't get your stinking thinking. Be careful what you listen to, what you're reading, what you're putting in your mind. If you're watching a lot of junk food TV or junk food news or negative stuff, it really does affect the body a lot. So just you guys, by showing up to these things, or if you're listening to this as a replay, you're putting the good information in your head. And the more you do that, you're training your subconscious mind to go look for more ways to make this weight loss, get healthy thing happen for you. It will go out of its way to find more ways to make it happen. But you got to feed your mind. What you feed your mind is as important as what you feed your body. Keeping your gut healthy with the good bacteria and all of that sort of stuff. And keeping your liver clean, eating lots of cruciferous, healthy vegetables, healthy fats, and keeping those hormones balanced. Does anybody have any questions?
Hi, Tami.
Nice to see you, Pam. So glad you're back. And
I'm
by the way,
happy to be.
I sent you the video. I was able to send it. I didn't know if I could, but I was able to.
Okay, I'll definitely take a look at that. Thank you. Um, wow, I'm so happy to be back. You are such a wealth of information. The tips, it's just one after another, after another, after another. I'm just blown away. I mean, I think, you know, 40 years of being on a diet, you think you know a lot of things, but let me tell you, I have just learned things for the very first time that is just shocking and so surprising. The Tylenol in the liver, I mean, had no idea that it was. Could you repeat what you had said as far as just the study that, or the studies show that the majority of people that go into hospital for liver concerns is
Is Tylenol
because of,
poisoning. And even children, like you have the kids
yeah,
Tylenol because they taste like candy.
yeah,
And they end up in, if they can open the jar, the bottle, they're unfortunately a big part of that, but even adults. So if you're drinking a lot of alcohol and you have a headache in the morning, you're just doing a double whammy if you pop your Tylenol. You really,
right,
really are. I don't know the percentage or the numbers,
right.
but it is the number one reason why we're there for liver poisoning.
That is just insane.
I will,
It's just,
I will say NAC, and if you go to a vitamin store, it'll just say NAC on the bottle. But
mhm.
it stands for N-acetylcholine. And that's what the hospital will give you if you have Tylenol, poisoning. So
Hmm.
have that in the house. If you feel like you need to
Interesting.
take a lot of Tylenol, then pop that in too, just to kind of protect your liver.
Wow. Wow. So that's to protect the liver um, from taking Tylenol. Wow. Wow. Um, I could definitely have 100 more questions. So if somebody else is needing a question quickly, otherwise, it's just amazing. I am so happy to just have this information fresh in my mind. You know, obviously, I'm in my maintenance phase, and all these things really will uh, just make things. Oh, you had mentioned when we were talking of how the food digests, and you said approximately 30 to 40 hours start to finish. So
That's what
a
I was
meal,
reading this morning. Yeah.
and okay, I thought it was less. I've actually had phenomenal debates with people about how long it takes to digest. And
And
so
I would
I,
think it depends on what you eat too, because like
sure,
red meat is a difficult thing to digest, so that might take longer, which
yeah,
is why we have you off of red meat. But any like chicken, fish, why we have you eliminate those just before the cleanse, because it takes longer for those guys to digest.
right.
Um, but I have people say they eat and then they have to go poop.
Yeah,
But it doesn't mean they're pooping what they just eat. It just means what they ate kind of pushed the thing at the bottom of the row out. And maybe,
thank
and
you.
it's possible that their digestive system isn't right, that it literally is going right through them. I mean, that's a
Yeah,
possibility too. And I'm
right.
talking about general. Oh, I had some statistics. Oh, I wanted to share it. They say we eat between 2.2 and almost 6 pounds of food a day. And they say that adds up to 61,000, about 61,000 pounds a year. But the
Wow.
speed at which it is really going to depend on your digestive system. And if it is jacked, food might go through you. Or I have some people coming to me and they don't poop for an entire week, once a week, or every other 3 or 4 or 5 days. And it's a lot of people,
Yeah.
but that's why they're here.
Have you ever heard of, in order to kind of determine what your digestion rate is at, you take a teaspoon of sesame seeds in a glass of water and you drink that water. And the first sign of the sesame seed in the other end kind of gives you an idea of,
That's
you know,
interesting. I've never heard that, but that makes perfect sense.
yeah. So I think it's going to be something that I might try just for information and
That would be
this.
interesting to know.
Okay, I'll let you know when
Okay,
I
now you
do
all
it.
have to come back next week and tell me how you did that. And I want to hear
Yeah.
all the details.
But seeds aren't
Just
allowed
kidding.
in the first phase, so seeds
What?
aren't allowed on the first phase, so I needed to wait till the second phase to be able to try it, but I'm gonna try
Seeds,
it and
seeds are allowed after the first cleanse.
okay.
Nuts
Okay.
and seeds come back after the first cleanse.
Okay. I think I didn't realize that, but that's
But
okay.
that's why I'm saying it out loud, because there's new people on here. I want them to know
Yeah.
if they finish their first 5-day cleanse, they're back on regular food. Yes, you can now have the sesame seeds or the flax seeds or the chia or
Cheese,
walnuts or almonds or whatever.
okay, good to know. But yeah, so I definitely will try that at some point and let you know how long, it takes. Um, yeah, I'm okay now. So, thank you. It's amazing, amazing this information today. Truly.
Oh, thank you.
No,
I
thank
really
you.
appreciate that. I'll give you 20 more minutes to stop saying that.
Hi, Tammy. This is Christina.
Hi, Christina.
I had a full hysterectomy on October 5th of last. How does that work with hormones now and developing them or producing them, or am I not producing any more hormones?
So I'm assuming your ovaries are gone too?
Yes, but I still have my cervix.
Yeah, but that's not where your hormones are going to come
Okay.
from. So that would be really a good conversation for you and your doctor if they want you to be on bioidentical hormones or where they think you at, if they're testing you to see if your levels are dropping. That's really a doctor question.
Okay. I haven't been tested or had that question come up. I would that be for my OBGYN doctor?
Yes, yes,
Okay. I
yes.
have an appointment with her this month, so I'll ask her.
Yeah, because a regular, even general, or even Dr. Infantino, he's versed, the doctors are versed on it, but your OBGYN is going to know your body and what's going on with you. And then if you have any symptoms like hot flashes or periods that aren't normal or any night sweats, whatever, any of that stuff, you need to let them know. That way they can kind of determine what to test you for.
Yeah, I'm not having any more periods. That stopped about a year ago
Yeah.
before my hysterectomy.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, talk to your doctor, your OBGYN for sure.
All right. Thank you.
Anybody else? Questions? It doesn't have to be about the digestive system. If you have a question about supplements or something else, now's your chance.
Is the lady that had some neuropathy problems still on?
Yeah, that was Christina.
Christina. I had a lot of that, and I would make a couple of suggestions to you. My chiropractor actually adjusts feet and then did some cold laser on my feet. That seemed to help a little. But there was a time when if I was on them too long or out, I had to come home and actually ice them. The bottoms of the feet would be so uncomfortable. I don't have to do that anymore, but I also use an infrared light like that I got on Amazon. And what else? Anyhow, I've tried all kinds of creams and potions and things like that. But oh, I know the other thing that helped a whole lot, and mine's quit working. I need to get another one, but it was a little. I think I got it from Amazon too, but it was this little pad that kind of looks like feet that you put your feet on, and it has something on it, a little thing on it that you can recharge. But anyway, it puts out like signals or little bitty shocks or vibrations or something. But depending on how you can stand, you can turn it up high enough that it makes your calves muscle clench or whatever. But that seemed to help them a whole lot too. But
Like Melinda, like a TENS unit where it's like
yeah,
it's like electrical impulse, but it doesn't hurt unless you turn it up too high. But it's enough
exactly.
to draw.
Something like that. Right. But things like that have helped a whole lot. Mine's much better than it used to be.
That makes sense, because that would likely draw circulation to the area.
Right,
And the
right, right.
circulation is what brings
Yeah.
healing, so
Right, right.
something to look into, yeah.
Tammy, you mentioned hot lemon water in the morning. Is there anything you can add to that that helps detox the liver? That you would be okay to do daily?
You could add turmeric to that. I don't know how that would taste. Some people add cayenne to that. I don't know if that's going to detoxify the liver or not. However, cayenne will do a couple of things. It'll promote circulation. So, and I know this because I was doing a cleanse years ago, lemon water, and then I added cayenne, and I'm off coffee because I'm doing the cleanse. And then I accidentally put too much cayenne in there. I'm like, well, I don't mind spicy. I'll just drink it. I didn't want to make another cup. So I drank it and I was fine with the flavor, but oh my God, my heart
Oh.
was going to jump out of my chest. I was like, I just had 10 cups of coffee. So, but because my heart's pumping so fast, the circulation's going, which might help detoxify the liver. I'm just sort of, I'm not want to say making that up, but I know circulation, the more we're circulating the blood and the nutrients to all of our organs, the more it's going to heal them or feed them. So that would make sense in that way. But that's the only two things I could think of.
Okay, because I looked up online like liver cleanse drinks, but I didn't know if there's any one specific you knew of that would be.
Well, like green leafy, green like spirulina you can add, like to make it like a green smoothie. Anything like you could add dandelion root. Beets. Beets are a good if you're making a smoothie. Beets are very good for cleansing the liver. But
Okay.
now I'm getting into a smoothie, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That'll cleanse the liver. And
Yeah.
I will say, be careful if you feel like you're really toxic, if your liver is really toxic, don't add a lot of beets. Don't have too much of that green smoothie at first. Start small, because if you're like, oh, I'm just going to clean it all out in one day, if you take too much, you'll feel super nauseous because it's too fast. You're detoxifying too fast. So do a quarter of a beet in your blender with your smoothie. And if you feel okay, the next day do half. Just don't do the juice or 2 or 3 beets to start,
Okay.
because it'll go too fast and that you won't feel good.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Great question.
Yeah, I think this is one I probably don't need to ask, but on the cleanse, we're not doing caffeine, but would that also cut out the mushroom coffee?
I don't know. They're all different. I'm trying to think what's in it. I would say don't do it for those days. You could have it on your prep days and your transition days, but there's some fiber in it. I would say not on the actual lemon cleanse days, but prep days it would be fine. You can have broth on the cleanse days, like chicken broth, not bone broth, but chicken broth or vegetable broth.
I think I asked you, what about that lemon balm herbal tea with that?
Yeah, lemon balm is good for calming. It's good for your blood pressure if you have high blood pressure. So that would be not something you might want to take at night. But like chamomile, lemon balm, cinnamon, mint, peppermint, spearmint, the fruit teas that don't have the sugars, just that they have the essence. Those, if they're caffeine free to start, or they never had caffeine to begin with, it's okay. But if it's like a green tea or even white tea, which originally had caffeine and it's now decaf, now they've processed it and done something to it and it's not in its natural state. So those are to be avoided. But yeah, you can have the teas anytime, except you could probably even have that on the cleanse because there's nothing to it.
Oh, cleanse was specific. Yeah.
Yeah. The tea, I would be less worried about. The coffee, I would save that for other days, the mushroom coffee,
Right.
just to be clear. Now, if you guys are going out and buying mushroom coffee, look at your ingredients because a lot of them are coffee and mushrooms.
Right.
We
I
want
understand.
zero coffee, so it's a coffee-like drink made with mushrooms and other herbs.
Right.
You know, so it's not coffee, just to be clear. Anybody else?
Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Tammy?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware of, for supplements, sometimes I take beet supplements, sometimes I take chlorella supplements in tablet form. If I were to pop a couple of those in the hot lemon water in the morning, does the heat do anything to the tablets of
I
whatever
don't know. I wouldn't think so. But like, I don't know if it would dissolve or not. I've never done that.
Okay.
I mean, you could certainly put a tablet if you're blending and making a green smoothie and making it
Right.
extra green,
Right,
with a
right.
chlorella tablet or a spirulina tablet.
Yeah.
Spirulina, I know, can come in like a powdered form or usually capsules.
Yeah.
There might be tablets. I'm sure there's all kinds of
There-
things.
Yeah. But just not
But
aware
if
of.
it's not so boiling hot that you can drink it, I don't see
Mhm.
why it would like change the chemistry of it.
Right, right.
I
Okay,
don't
good.
see that, but I don't know for 100% certain.
Okay, okay. Well, there you go. Because just the, question I think Corinne asked about the lemon water and adding what could be added. That was my first thought of, because you mentioned beets and I take beet supplement. So if it dissolves, then that would actually be a bit of a powerhouse.
Yeah, it certainly would. And another
Yeah.
thing beets can do is they're a vasodilator, which means it can be good for high blood pressure because it helps open it up the veins and arteries so that the heart doesn't have to work so hard. But it's also a good pre-workout. So before you go to the gym, for the same reason, now more blood can get pumped to those muscles. So if you're inclined to take a pre-workout, you can take a beet and not, because the problem with most pre-workouts have sucralose, and that stuff's so bad for the gut. So if you want to get an all natural one, beet powder would be the way to go. Or if there's a pill or a capsule or something like that, I'm sure that would be
Okay.
fine.
I'm going to try it. I'll let you know.
And here's here's another little tidbit. I'm getting all embarrassed now. But in my vitamin store, some of these pre-workout things like beet powder, arginine, citrulline, those are, also vasodilators. But I would sell a lot of those, let's just say on Valentine's Day to the men. because because it produces the blood flow. I'm sure it wouldn't hurt the woman either. I mean,
Right.
but just
Especially if you have high
putting it
blood
out there.
pressure.
What's that? What did you say?
Especially if the women have high blood pressure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we need blood flow to other places too. So
Okay, well, there's that as well.
anyway,
Good one.
just a
good
little
one.
side note.
Yeah. I'll let my husband know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be a natural way to at least start.
Yeah.
Just at least start there, before we start taking blue pills and all the other stuff.
Right, exactly. Okay,
All
very
right.
good.
Well, anybody have any other questions? Well, I really, really appreciate you all coming. I appreciate your input, your questions, your participation. I really,
Tammy,
really do appreciate that.
Tammy, one more question.
Yes.
What was that called that increases the blood flow?
Well, I was talking about beets, but you
Okay.
could buy beet powder. I imagine you could probably buy capsules.
Okay, you were suggesting that men during Valentine's Day do it. Is that beets?
Well, like pre-workout, but beets can be a pre-workout. So if you're trying to go clean, you don't want to pre-workout because that's got the sucralose, which kills the gut bacteria. So if you want to
Okay.
be extra healthy about it, take the beet juice, whether it's a powder or the juice or whatever. It's going to be, you got to be careful with the sugars with beets. They do have some sugars, but
Okay.
they're naturally occurring, of course, but still just mindful of that. But just saying that's, some people go that route, which why not? And Valentine's is in about a month, so here we go. Here, honey, I bought you some beet juice for Valentine's Day. Just saying, why don't you have some? Have it as a pre-dinner cocktail or something. Anyways, so
Over the holidays for me, Coach Tammy became synonymous with a lot of experiences, a lot of places I went, people I met, and Coach Tammy became, actually, I got enough people interested in I guess what I'm doing, this program, and it became where even obscure things, well, what would Coach Tammy say and what would Coach Tammy do? So the beat one is I'm gonna send the beat one because it's the best. It just makes my experience over the holidays so perfect. So Coach Tammy says that Valentine's Day is coming up.
just in case inquiring minds want to know.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. We'll see you guys later, and hopefully I'll talk to you next time. Thank you for showing.